Excellent. I'd like to call this meeting to order and ask for a resolution to adopt the agenda of August 25th, 2020, please. Marvin, second. Michael. Any additions to that agenda? Not seeing any. All in favor? That is carried. Be it resolved that the minutes of the regular council meeting of August 11th, 2020 be adopted. Mover? Don, second. Karina. Any comments, questions on those minutes? Not seeing any. All those in favor? And that is carried. We have some communication there from Big Brothers Big Sisters of Pembina Valley. Everybody's had an opportunity to read, I suspect. If there's no comments on that, we'll continue. Be it resolved that accounts payable in the amount of $1,703,908.11 as approved by the Finance Committee be approved for payment. Mover?
Karina.
Second.
Don.
Any comments on those?
Nope.
Okay, all those in favor? And that is carried. Be it resolved that the 2019 audited financial statements be adopted as received and tabled. Mover?
Karina.
Second.
Don.
Any comments on those? Obviously, always interesting when GTP comes back and presents those numbers and combines them all and then pulls them back apart so that we can actually read them. But it's a riveting meeting every year when we have it.
I always find that that David's newest report has educated us and brought us to that point a lot earlier, right? So I always find that he does such a good job of that. The team does.
And I think that's a really important piece. GTP always compliments us on the thoroughness of our staff's work on it. David, to you and your staff for providing that and doing it. Much appreciated. Thank you.
Great.
All those in favor? Carried. Continuing then to our July numbers, be it resolved that the general operating and utility financial statements and monthly financial report for July 2020 be received for information. Mover?
Karina.
Second? Don? Any questions and comments? All in favor? And that is carried. Taking us then to 5.4, be it resolved that the City of Winkler will agree to provide an operating grant in the amount of $60,000 per year for 10 years, renewable upon mutual agreement at that time. In addition to the operating grant, the City of Winkler will provide an additional grant equal to the amount of property taxes payable for all land and buildings, excluding the portion attributed to the restaurant. Mover?
Andrew.
Second?
Karina.
I'm just not sure why it doesn't just say be resolved that the City of Winkler agrees to extend or to have a 20-year lease with the golf course. Like, this is part of the agreement. But I'd like to move this, though, subject to the approval of the golf course board.
Okay, is the seconder okay with that amendment?
Mm-hmm.
Any other thoughts or comments in that regard?
My only comment is because in the agreement, it talks about a memorandum of understanding, and that also has not even been seen by the golf course board.
So in this situation, adding that additional information, if they have concern, they can bring it back to us.
Correct.
And we can deal with it.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other comments and questions? Not seeing any. All those in favor? And that is carried. Moving then to the swamp minutes, be it resolved that the swamp board minutes for August 19, 2020 be received as information. Mover?
Andrew.
Second?
Michael.
Any comments on that, guys?
Nope.
Questions from anybody else? Not seeing any. All in favor? And that is carried. Be it resolved that council approves subdivision number 4463-20-8019. Mover.
Marvin.
Second.
Andrew?
You've all seen the shared notes there. You've had an opportunity to take a look at it. Is there any concerns or questions that we still need to address? Not seeing any. All those in favor? And that is carried. Be it resolved that the in-camera planning committee minutes for August 13th, 2020 be adopted. Mover.
Don,
Second.
Andrew?
Any comments on them?
Yes, actually. Oh, no, you added it, never mind. I had a note there in the shared notes, but
Okay.
Danica's got it, thanks.
Yeah, that in.
Perfect.
They're on it.
Okay. Not seeing anything else. All those in favor? And that is carried. That would take us to our next subdivision. Be it resolved that council approves subdivision 4463-20-8014. Mover.
Michael.
Second. I'll need some help to put it on the floor.
Donnie's not going forward or what?
well, I was giving you the opportunity.
No, you go ahead.
I'll second it.
Don Don will lead the second. Again, there's some shared notes there. There was an earlier concern that's been addressed. Does anyone else have any questions or comments on what they see?
No, as long as the fire code stuff is up to date, like
Yeah.
Stephanie had mentioned, then good to go.
Excellent. All those in favor? And that is carried. Be it resolved that the MSTW meeting minutes for July 16th, 2020, year-to-date building permit report, month-to-date building permit report, July inspector report, and July general manager's report be accepted as information. Mover?
I also move.
Don, second.
Andrew?
Andrew. Any thoughts or comments on what we see?
Well, as far as everything's chugging along pretty good, in consideration the amount of, with the pandemic happening, we're still seeing significant housing starts and commercial buildings coming up. And also you can see in the report as well, as far as the contract work that we do, is actually a significant amount that it contributes to our annual budget. So we're very pleased with that we, went into that agreements with other municipalities.
Very nice. You're right. It makes the budget a whole bunch more interesting.
Absolutely.
And
And there's
easier
more-
on our local ratepayers.
Exactly, and there's more permits coming out, so as we go to the second half of the year.
Excellent. We are not quite at 7:00 yet, so we will,
Is that
We
6:45?
can have the second and third reading on a secondary plan.
we can.
Yes,
Excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you for your help, David.
no problem.
Moving then straight into it. Be it resolved that secondary plan bylaw number 2255-20 be given second reading. Mover.
Do you want to have Stephanie go through the notes first before you have second, or do you want to do it after second and then we do second and third?
How about we do it right now? Thank you for catching me on that, David. I knew there was a reason you were going to bail me out here at
Yeah,
least
no.
once tonight, so thank you. Sorry, Stephanie, please go ahead.
So yeah, I just wanted to run by all of the changes that we've made to the secondary plan since the August 11th public hearing to now second and potentially third reading. So just in your reports to council, I think there's a nice text sort of description, but I think it's easier to just go through the actual plan.
Appreciate it, thank
So what you're
you.
seeing there is a new section added to section 1.6, undeveloped planning area. It was to address a concern from Manitoba Infrastructure. It's more of an informational notice, not a policy section, just to advise potential applicants and landowners that they have intentions to 2014 in the future. So,
Let me just find the notes.
if you go to the comments. Okay, this section here is section 2.2, I believe, number 5. It's more of just a grammatical error, a grammatical correction. It was previously worded in a way that it was a bit more challenging to understand, and I think that this particular wording is more clear to understand. So no change in intent to the policy there at all. Okay, so this is a change to section 5.1. It's a brand new policy number 3, added to the rural residential section, and it's outlined right there. It's basically needed to acknowledge that there are some applications that have been, that were submitted significantly prior to the start of the secondary plan process, and that some of those applications would be eligible for consideration, but that no additional applications for rural residential lots would be considered after the adoption of the secondary plan.
Was that it?
That's it for the actual policy changes. We made some slight amendments to the actual maps. If you just go to the transportation map, we added, you actually were right there.
This one? One more?
The last one.
Right
Yeah.
there.
That one, yeah.
So in this map here, we made, if you look at the very right side of the screen, that's Burbank. We discussed with Stanley what their intentions are. So they actually have a pathway that connects to the church along Church Avenue that we would like to connect to Putnam Avenue in the future. So that's an addition, as well as the connection along Eastview. Now, that potentially, it could be on the other side of Eastview in that right of way. Sorry, Burbank, I'm so sorry. Burbank, that's an ongoing mistake. On the very east side there of the street, maybe that last road. So then there's a connecting point that could happen that ties into Rhinefield, just north of the CPR railroad tracks there, as well as connecting to their existing pathway on our east end of Putnam Avenue East. The other change would be, again, from infrastructure's request, we looked at a functional design study, but done back in, I think, 2010. And it's understood that at some point in the future, Prairie View will be a controlled intersection, crossing Highway 32. So we can have that pedestrian crossing happen when after those intersection improvements are made. And then the last change would be, again, to alleviate Manitoba Infrastructure's concern that they don't want crossings across Highway 14 at more than a half-mile spacing. And so, as you know, there are existing frontage roads there that we would just connect to. So those arrows were turned left and right, so that it doesn't leave the impression that we're proposing a new crossing there.
Gotcha.
And I think that's it for changes to the, since August 11th, anyway. And there was a slight legend correction too there. The line was previously solid and it should be broken. Again, just very nitpicky correction there.
Perfect.
Any questions?
Just a question on the Pembina, the pathway, the reason it only moves that far is because that's part of this plan, because it doesn't connect to anything at this point,
That's right.
that on the
It's
west
just
side.
for the study areas.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
It's good.
Any further questions? Thank you, Stephanie, for your presentation. Moving forward then, David, be it resolved that secondary plan bylaw number 2255-20 be given second reading. Mover,
Michael.
second.
Karina.
Karina, comments to what you've seen? There's obviously a couple of small changes there. Any thoughts that should be expressed to it? Anything that you'd like to say to it at this point? Not seeing any. All those in favor? That is carried. Continuing then to be it resolved that secondary plan bylaw number 2255-20 be given third and final reading. Mover,
Don?
Don, second.
Michael.
Michael. Comments?
I don't know what I'm gonna say. Well, how you worded everything so well, Henry.
Asking if there was a question was well worded?
No. My comments were made in the in-camera hearing, and I mean we had an internal vote,
Yeah.
and I'm prepared to move forward with the team.
Thank you for your comments. We did have a really robust conversation around this as we were discussing it. And there wasn't 100% unanimous support for it because there is obviously a concern about developing rural residential in the city setting. And definitely there were some concerns expressed. Ultimately, a vote was taken and the majority carried that day. And I very much appreciate that those people who were not fully supportive of it initially, at this point in time, the majority has spoken, and we will now support that and give our staff the opportunity to fully implement this plan effectively. All those in favor? That is passed. And I want to thank you, Scott, and you, Stephanie, for the work that's been put into this plan. I think what we have here is something we can be justifiably very proud of. The amount of work that happened in a very, very short period of time is amazing. The planner that you chose to come and help us with this process did a really good job. I think we reached out well to the community. The community responded well. It gave us plenty of opportunity, or gave us plenty of things to think about. Everybody respectfully presented. Not everybody 100% agreed with absolutely everything that happened, but it was a good collaborative effort that allowed us to arrive at a plan that's going to make your jobs easier moving forward, and it's going to help us build a better community. So I thank you for the leadership that both of you showed on that.
Yes, thank you, Stephanie, Scott, and Dan, very much.
Moving on then, be it resolved that Central Manitoba tourism minutes from August 2020 be received as information. Mover.
Karina.
Second,
I'll help her.
Thank you.
any comments on that, Karina?
I was disappointed that no Winkler businesses or people got nominated or got an award, but was very proud to see so many nominations from our city. And so there were a lot of great businesses represented in the awards gala. And so, yeah, it was really good to see.
Excellent.
Yep.
Anything else from anybody else? All those in favor? Carried. Be it resolved that the Community Service Committee minutes for August 11th, 2020 be adopted as information. Mover.
Andrew?
Second.
Karina.
Any comments out of those minutes?
Not unless you have questions about it.
Okay. All those in favor? And that is carried. That would take us to just about 7 o'clock. So be it resolved that this meeting of council recess for the purpose of holding public hearings. Mover.
Andrew?
Marvin.
Andrew moved Marvin seconded. All in favor? Carried. We'll give it the 2 minutes to get right till 7 o'clock. I'll ask you guys, once you're speaking, to make sure you state your name for the record so that we have it here as well. But going into this hearing, David, do you have, if you'd like to take it?
Yeah, sure. So this is a public hearing for a conditional use. The applicant is 6662618 Manitoba Limited. He's also the owner. The premises is at 103 6th Street South. And it's basically that a two-family dwelling is a conditional use development in a single-family zone. And the existing zoning is residential single family. And the request basically is to construct a duplex. Here to speak on behalf of this public hearing. At this point, you would be able to do so. Yeah, okay.
Do-it-all builders are here and have chosen not to speak to at this point. Do we have any?
We haven't received any written objection.
Nope.
Does council have any questions before we close hearing? And
Question for clarification, I don't know
Please.
if you can do it now or later during once closed.
maybe clarification now would be a good idea in case it requires new information.
Okay, the point where it says city has asked the very northwest evergreen tree be removed to improve sightlines. At some point, I imagine there might be a fence going along the north wall of that property as well. And I don't know if there's, and I imagine, and the planning people might know, there would be some policy in place that would also not allow a fence to be at the corner to be the height that would distract from that, right?
So in our zoning bylaw, there's a section that talks about height restrictions for fences. In the required front yard, for the most part, a 4-foot height is the maximum from grade. But in fact, there's additional clause that if you're at a corner of two public intersections, that maximum height is 3 feet above grade. So they could potentially construct a fence in that location in the future, but it couldn't be taller than 2 feet.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Because
Thank
I
you,
was thinking, if it wasn't there, then it would kind of not help the case. If the tree is cut down, then you build a 6-foot fence right to the corner, right? Yeah, good, thank you.
Okay, with that piece of clarification, if there's no other questions, be it resolved that the public hearing for conditional use 1615-20 be closed. Mover,
Andrew?
second.
Michael.
All those in favor? Carried. Be it resolved that council approve conditional use number 1615-20, subject to a development agreement. Terms and conditions of the development agreement will be in accordance with the recommendations made in the city's report to council. Mover,
Marvin?
Don,
Marvin.
second Marvin. Any additional questions or thoughts? This, the terms and conditions, Scott, have been presented to the developer and they've had an opportunity to review them. Okay.
Yes.
Excellent. Council have any other thoughts? All those in favor? And that is carried. Be it resolved that public hearings be adjourned and regular council reconvene. Mover,
Andrew?
second.
Marvin?
All in favor? That is carried. And with the exception of questions from the media or public, that is our agenda.
Right on.
Do we have anything there, Wendy? Nothing there? And the publics that are here,
Yeah, just a question, will the revisions to the secondary plan, will that be made available on the website now? Absolutely, yeah, good.
okay, not seeing any additional comments or questions. Be it resolved that this regular meeting of council be adjourned. Mover,
Karina.
second.
Michael.
Michael, all in favor? And we're done. Have a good night, all.
Good job, team.
Good to go.
I know.
Thank you.
Thank you.